I'm Lana and this is Joseph. We've been married for almost 10 years and we have 2 children, an almost 8-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
We went camping one time and went tubing and found that I got bruised really easy and was getting nosebleeds. So I was going to the doctor to kind of figure out why I was bruising so easily. So I decided to call off work on Monday and we made a doctor's appointment. Tuesday morning I was getting the kids ready for school and I got a phone call from my doctor that I had to go to the emergency room right away. She said things were very serious in the testing they did.
All of his labs were critical. His blood counts were all very, very low. His platelets were very low, and he had absolutely no white blood cells to fight infection.
Aplastic anemia is similar to leukemia. The only difference is it's not cancer cells attacking your bone marrow, but your T cells of your own body. So my body was rejecting itself and attacking its bone marrow, and you're at very high risk of death.
So before he could even come home from the hospital, we had to get rid of our cats. Our dog had to go live with grandma, and we had to completely sanitize our house from top to bottom. If the kids were sick, they had to be completely isolated from him. When they came home from school or daycare, they had to change their clothes. We had sanitizer everywhere. We had to constantly be washing and keeping everything completely clean. We couldn't have any visitors. He wasn't allowed to go shopping. He couldn't come to church. All of his food had to be cooked to a certain temperature. He couldn't eat any fresh fruits or vegetables. We couldn't eat out. Everything had to be home cooked and properly maintained.
So October 1st of 2017, we decided to go to Denver to do my chemo treatment to kill off the rest of the T cells that were attacking my bone marrow.
The doctor said that because he was only maintaining and he wasn't getting better, that the medication wasn't working. And so in March, they told us that our next step was a bone marrow transplant. The transplant was super risky. Joseph only had a 50% match. They never found him a full match. And so his risk of death was really, really high going into this.
For me, when all this happened, I feel like I had a choice. I could be angry at God, or I can embrace His plan, and that He had a reason for everything that happened. I decided to embrace His plan and know that it was His plan, it was out of my hands, and that I'd do whatever He wanted.
Yeah, I wasn't angry. I was scared and completely heartbroken. I couldn't imagine what my life would be without him. Jace was only 3, maybe 6 months old at the time, and Juliana was 5.5. And I didn't think that they would be okay without their dad. And I pleaded with God to please not take my husband. I would just fall on the floor and pray and cry.
They started prepping us for the bone marrow transplant, doing all the pre-testing. The last test they did was a bone marrow biopsy, which is the same test they did when I was diagnosed. When I was diagnosed, I had 5% of my bone marrow. So when they did the test, I ended up with 50% of my bone marrow growing back. So the treatment I was on was working. I'm still on that treatment today. I am 145 platelets. Normal is 150, and all my other numbers are normal. I feel very blessed that God has kept me here to do His work.
Although this has been the hardest adventure ever, I must say that our marriage is better than it's ever been. We have much better communication. I made it a vow when he was sick that I wouldn't worry about the little things.
I've learned to really lean on God, even in the hardest times, and give praise in the good times. And I feel like God still has more in store of work I need to do.
When I found out Joseph was possibly not gonna make it, the first person I called was our church family. We could not have done it without you guys.
If it wasn't for the prayers, I don't think I'd be here today. For everybody that was there praying, and God heard you, and He does answer prayers. I'm here to tell you that there's no way I could have done it without those. And this is the motto that we took when I got sick. It's faith over fear in any dark times.